Hey, what's up guys, Riff here. So today we're once again talking about Idubbbz because he decided to post another video onto YouTube, and as you can see, it's not going well. I think it's a combination of some bad energy being in the air still from his content cop on H3, and also, as we'll see, the video itself is a complete joke. It's very hypocritical and lacks any self-awareness, and as you can see, there's more dislikes than likes. And also the comment section is absolutely ripping him apart. It's filled with pretty much 100% negative comments. Either they're criticizing the video or just straight up making fun of him. But anyways, this is the topic. It's a part of his Idubbbz Complains series, and it's about concern trolling.
Something that I've been struggling with for a long time on YouTube is concern trolling. The thing that I really struggle with is not identifying concern trolling. The difficult part of it is when there are people who have authentic concern out there and the concern trolls are concerned over the same thing. So I'm like, oh fuck, I'm giving in to the concern trolls by addressing, this segment of the population or this segment of my fan base who have genuine concerns. So I don't want to let the trolls inhibit my ability to communicate to my fans or people who are confused out there.
As you'll see throughout his video, he really doesn't like concern trolling. It seems to get under his skin more than anything else. But in case you're not fully understanding what concern trolling is yet, basically, you have someone who will leave a comment saying something that is disingenuous. They say something that is trying to show concern about someone, but it's really just disingenuous and backhanded and trying to get some moral authority over the person in an attempt to get under their skin. An example would be saying something like, oh, Rev, this video is really unhinged. I hope you get the help you need, right? But if you need a live example of this in action, you have to look no further than Idubbbz himself.
Since Ethan and Hassan's falling out, I've been keeping to myself mostly. I don't have many nice things to say. Maybe if Ethan's able to get some help, maybe if he stops harassing other creators, maybe if he does these things, eventually he'll find peace and we can rekindle our friendship.
Yeah, so the hypocrisy of Idubbbz complaining about concern trolling is very obvious. You look at the content cop and content deputy he made on H3, you'll see that the entire foundation of those videos is concern trolling, where Idubbbz and the other people he brought on for the content cop, they all went about this hour-long video criticizing every aspect of his life. They laid this foundation of, hey Ethan, hey buddy, hey big guy, we're concerned about you. They say it over and over again. We're concerned about you. You need to get the help you deserve and yada, yada, yada. It's literally just all concern trolling, and seeing Idubbbz spend 20 minutes complaining about it is, again, so lacking in self-awareness, it's kind of profound. And also his own wife has engaged in concern trolling when it comes to Ethan, where she has said stuff like this. Okay, it's time for loved ones to step up for real. Parents, partner, someone. I'm saying this so genuinely. It's okay to ask for help. Please get help. I mean, does it get any more ridiculous than this? Anissa does not care about the well-being of Ethan Klein whatsoever. This is someone who recently made fun of his Tourette's and blamed it on a drug addiction, when she knows full well from knowing him in real life, it's not a drug addiction. His tics are from his Tourette's. And she now comes here onto Twitter trying to express her concern trolling, and it's so disingenuous. But on top of that, we saw a part of that clip where Idubbbz said, if Ethan fixes his ways, maybe we could open up a friendship again in the future. And I highly doubt that. I mean, look at the situation with Donut Operator we talked about the other day, where he revealed they used to be friends, and for 5 years, they have not spoke because Idubbbz completely cut him off over one joke he made about OnlyFans. He took it so personally, he completely severed all communication from a former friend in Donut Operator. So I highly doubt he's gonna extend possible friendship to Ethan Klein after basically eviscerating every aspect of his life and trying to ruin him with multiple content cops. But anyways, let's get back to the focus here of the video and the next point that he is talking about, which is something a little different. He tried to read the comment section by shoving everything into AI and making one singular tweet or one singular comment to sum up the entire comment section of his content cop and content deputy.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Idubbbz Complains. In the last couple of videos, I got a lot of comments. Now, I don't have time to read all 150,000 comments, but I also don't want to let down my audience, you know? I want them to know that I hear you, I hear your concerns, and I'm listening. I've put all 150,000 comments into the AI, and I told it to condense it down into a singular comment that is representative of the whole. My hope is that the one comment will perfectly represent a small fragment of everyone in the audience, so everyone is equally happy. Okay, hold on a sec. So I'm kind of lost. Who's Hassan again? But hey, it's cool to see a content cop after all these years. Still, I gotta say, something feels different, man. Did we lose the plot somewhere? I miss the old days, but whatever. Keep doing you, I guess. Anyway, peace out. I'm gonna go rewatch some Filthy Frank now. I'm gonna be honest, I'm a big fan of the one comment because I feel like it perfectly encapsulates a comment from like a normie viewer who maybe watched you 5 years ago, but you know, they don't keep up with the drama or anything.
The Filthy Frank part really kills me, but it's so funny. We're talking about concern trolling, which is kind of laid out by disingenuous intentions, and in this case, when he's talking about his own audience, he sounds so disingenuous. He's like, oh, I care so much about your comments. I just wish I could read them all. Like, clearly you're not reading the comment section because every single comment, especially the highest upvoted ones, are negative and telling you basically to stop going down this path that you are and that these videos are trash and that people don't enjoy what you're doing anymore. And also, it's funny because he really gets trolled by the AI. The AI essentially concern trolls him. And then there's this funny comment he made about normie viewers from 5 years ago who you know, been touching grass and are not following the drama. I mean, dude, that's like your whole audience, right? And that's reflected in one of the comments on his most recent video where you can see this person saying, normie viewer, bro, 98% of your subscribers are from 5+ years ago, which is very true. He has been only losing subscribers. He believes and gives off this sort of image that he has completely gotten rid of his old audience and replaced them with a new one, and that is not the case. He's probably gained very few from his empathy journey, right? He still has most of his audience still retained here, but they're just not happy with what's going on. But the comment section is crazy. Now, part of it, by the way, I think he is engagement baiting by asking people to not concern troll him in the comments, and that's what people are doing. But anyways, I can see this comment. Guys, is Anissa's husband okay? You grew into such an empathetic young lesbian. Happy Pride Month. This is not what podcasts are. And then you had that comment we read. I just want to ask if you've always been shitting your pants, because since I've known you, you've always been shitting yourself. You really need to stop, Ian. This is pathetic. Is he crashing out on drugs? This is concerning. Saying you don't have time to look at the comments on your video only to 1 minute later say you look at the post history of concern trolls is so brain dead. And don't worry, we'll get into that in just a second, but you can see the comment section is absolutely ripping him apart, and rightfully so. This video is just kind of embarrassing in many different ways, including this next clip we're going to look at, where he starts talking about Anita Sarkeesian and how he now appreciates what she used to do about 10 years ago for Gamergate.
To my surprise, the scholar on this topic is Anita Sarkeesian. Yeah, it's been almost a decade since like the Gamergate time, and go figure, the white guy 8 years later is like, I think Anita Sarkeesian was kind of onto something. There was a lot of assholes on the internet, and they're kind of misogynistic too, I think. It's crazy what a little CTE or the love of a woman will do to you.
Unfortunately, that's not the only species of concern troll out there.
What happened to this guy? I mean, seriously, like this has got to be a humiliation ritual at this point. I literally cannot believe what I'm looking at. He is now turning around and saying, hey, wait a second, Anita Sarkeesian was onto something, which is the funniest thing I've ever seen. Like, this really encapsulates who he is now. I mean, he's talking about one of the most insufferable feminist contributors to gaming culture that's ever existed. Perhaps the most insufferable. She is someone who has tried very hard to censor everything in video games, any sort of attractive characters or designs or clothing they wear. She has gone after that. She's pro-censorship. She's someone who speaks on behalf of all women, basically claims all women hate characters like Bayonetta and that it's objectifying them as women and it's going to lead to like real life violence and all these things. Like, is this the side he wants to be on now? Is this the person he thinks was really onto something? I feel like he's just getting like blasted in his comments section. He's like, yes, I'm just like those girls who suffer from those evil gamers that Anita has been describing and trying to profit off of for many years. I mean, that was her entire shtick, right? She said that there was like this evil war on female gamers and that, you know, there was serious consequences at bay and it was just a matter of time before violence and all these things would happen alongside it. And basically she used that to get a lot of money. But of course now feminist frequency is shut down. I'm so glad Idubbbz developed empathy at the ripe age of 32. It's amazing. Really, really positive stuff. But anyways, we're going to move on to the next clip where he talks about the sort of political spectrum of concern trolling.
You can kind of look at the political spectrum as like a spectrum of concern, and people on the left seem to be generally more concerned than people on the right. You can say that people on the right are mostly concerned about themselves. That might be like a fair assessment. If you're somewhere over here where Tim Pool's at, all you gotta do to concern troll him is take one step to the left. That's it. I think concern trolling is in the eye of the beholder. With this example, you have Tim Pool thinking that Patton Oswalt is being concern trolled by his audience, or a portion, maybe like a small segment of people.
This is what happens when you fall for this stuff. Patton Oswalt falls for it. He is a weak man.
But Patton Oswalt doesn't feel that way. You know, he sees it as authentic concern, which is why he addresses it in this Instagram post. By the way, the concern is basically just people were uncomfortable with his association with Dave Chappelle because Dave Chappelle did some transphobic or said some transphobic shit. But Tim Pool has such a fucking low emotional IQ that he doesn't realize it isn't a big deal to listen to what other people are saying and like adjust your behavior.
Can you guys guess what part of the political spectrum Idubbbz is currently sitting on? This whole thing's crazy. So he's saying the left is more concerned and the right is more concerned about themselves, which is a pretty rude thing to say. And I think it's because Idubbbz clearly doesn't like any sort of right-leaning opinion. So because they're wrong think, he must think also they are selfish. You know, you're selfish to have these beliefs. And clearly it's out of a selfish nature that they believe this way because they're wrong. And believe me, I've seen the far left end of the spectrum really show their concern and their empathy over the years. You know, the same ones who will basically say you deserve the worst things to happen to you the second you disagree with anything they say. But on top of that, think about this. You know, where did cancel culture come from? Well, of course, on the far left. And I cannot think of a greater example of concern trolling. That is like the final form, the final boss of concern trolling. That is cancel culture, because it is designed by people who largely don't actually care that much about what they're complaining about, but they weaponize their concern to try to ruin someone's life. I think that is the highest form of concern trolling, and it's contributable to the side that he is on. But anyways, on top of that, he mentions Dave Chappelle and his transphobic shit that got him canceled. Well, at the time he's referring to, the stuff that he was canceled for is right here, okay? These are the comments that got him booted from a show he was headlining, okay? Here's the quotes. Gender is a fact. Every human being in this room, every human being on Earth, had to pass through the legs of a woman to be on Earth. This is a fact. And then the other thing he said was that trans people are confusing. That's it. At the time he's referring to, that was all Dave Chappelle ever said, and he got canceled for that. And ironically enough, I was talking about some people being very violent on the very far left end, and guess what happened with his situation? He was attacked on stage for saying these things, and the person who did it was charged with felony assault with a deadly weapon. I mean, the jokes literally write themselves. It's actually insane. But let's move on to the next clip, which is about Ian addressing a comment from his content cop where he said, Ethan doesn't need a hug. he needs to get his ass whooped.
But I will say, one of the concerned trolls was super fucking obvious to me. They came into the Discord. I'll read you what they put so you can kind of get a vibe for what a concerned troll might sound like. Now, this comment is in reference to me saying that I think he needs a good ass whooping. What are we saying? He needs a hug? No, he doesn't need a hug. He needs a good fucking ass whooping is what he needs. They say, just being for real, this line in the video was pretty strange. Red flag number 1. At worst, it's a call for physical assault. At best, it's very toxic masculinity-esque. It just comes across as parody, right? This was literally no one's concern ever. He needs a good fucking ass whooping is what he needs. Either way, it doesn't seem to align with Ian's mentality towards being more progressive and against harassment. You see what I mean? It's trying to like insert like a little seed of doubt. Whoa, you might have been irresponsible here. You might need to take accountability for what you've put out on the internet. Never mind the point that you were making in the video. I think you need to repent for your call to violence.
So again, not to beat this to death, but the entire content cop is concern trolling. That's like the foundation of the whole thing. But when he said he needs to get his ass whooped, how else do people interpret that? It's not a joke. There's no punchline. I think he truly believed this. Now, he says nobody was worried about these comments and it actually leading to him getting attacked in real life. Well, the only reason someone might believe that is because anyone who agrees with the points he was making in that video are probably so terminally online, they would have a panic attack if their mailman tried to start a conversation with them, okay? So, no, they're not going to go fly out and find Ethan and try to beat him up in real life. But the funny thing he says also is that the comment about it is it's overlooking the points Ian was trying to make, that mentioning this whole thing about the ass whooping, it distracted from Ian's points, which is exactly what he did. He did that. By adding in that comment about him needing to get beaten up, he distracted the audience from his own points. That's obvious. You can't say out-of-pocket stuff in the middle of what you're trying to make as a criticism without it overshadowing everything else. People are going to pause and say, oh, wait a second. You're trying to make a point, and then you say that he should be beaten up for basically the way that he is. I mean, that's completely ridiculous. And also, keep in mind, if the roles were reversed in this situation, and it was Ethan saying this about Ian, it would be in the content cop, and he would think it's a call to violence. One of many we see on the internet. But I'm going to end this on one more clip. This one is really showing me exactly what this video was all about and why he made this. He got one guy. Basically, one guy got him so upset that he made this whole video crying about this guy.
I honest to God just think his vid and the whole intention would have been better without that in it. I don't see why he said that. Ugh. Of course, this is a new user to our Discord, so no post history. So we gotta get creative. You reverse search the username and you find that they have a Twitter. Their Twitter is suspended. The Blue Sky account, though, has tweets like, so how long until Destiny gets banned from this app? Hashtag DGG. Hashtag Daliban. Hashtag Destiny. Tankies are already terrified of arriving Daliban forces. Following back all liberals. Hashtag DGG. Now, the reason that these posts are relevant is because Destiny is quite famous for saying very unhinged, offensive shit, and he doesn't really seem to care that much about it.
Yeah, we now know the true nature of this video. It's the result of him basically being mind-broken and one guy, okay? He ironically says he doesn't read his comments, he doesn't get too deep in them and all that stuff, and then he shares an experience where he saw one random Discord comment and got so upset about it that he basically hunted this guy down across the internet and found multiple accounts associated with this random nobody, and then read through his Blue Sky posts, and then try to connect him to Destiny, which is really just par for the course at this point. He hangs out with people like Hassan, who also share in this Destiny derangement syndrome, where they believe Destiny is behind everything that is being used to criticize them. They probably think this video is ghost-written by Destiny, and to make it clear, I don't like Destiny, but it's crazy the level some of these people go to think this guy's behind everything, and they have to show just how much they dislike this guy every chance they get. I think this whole video is insane. He also talked about Creator Clash for a little bit, and there's really no new information there other than what's already been publicly shared. The only interesting part that I want to highlight is that he just straight up says that he knew Creator Clash 3 was going to be a failure, which I find very odd because the first criticism he got for Creator Clash 3 was for making it in the first place, even announcing it. Why would you do that after the failure of Creator Clash 2? Didn't you learn anything? You're not going to make any money. And then he says, well, we pushed on anyways, and I knew it was probably not going to do very well. So, like, why even do it? And then, of course, it makes kind of sense that he would take a profit share because it puts way less pressure on him and has a much bigger chance of giving him money as a result of going through Creator Clash 3. But, of course, he's now severed ties entirely with the event, so that's not going to happen. But anyways, one more thing to point out before we go. Ethan Klein seems to be loading up something about Idubbbz. It might be live at the time this video goes live. Either way, if it's interesting enough, we will cover it in a future video. But he says, please tune into the show tomorrow for what might end up being the most humiliating expose of all time. So whatever that is, I'm not quite sure yet. But for now, that's going to do it for this video. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comments section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.